I've had some problems, some great and some small. You being God delivered me from them all. Still can't believe all the ways you made. Oh Lord, incredible God, incredible. Some problems, some great and some small. You being God, deliver me from them all. Still can't believe, oh, Lord. Incredible God, oh, what kind of God, do it for me. Victory, grace and mercy, He is so, incredible God.
North Carolina.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to the Police Report Show. The Police Report Show was created to keep the public informed and to build and maintain a positive relationship with the community. WBIS LP 106.9 FM, Winterville, Ayden, Grifton, Southside, Greenville, North Carolina. Outside the listening area, tune in on WBISAwesomeRadio.org.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Happy New Year's. This is the inaugural show of the police first responders of the year 2023. We have a show in store for you today. We love your company and we'd love to be here to educate you, to be a throughway into the first responder business here in Pitt County, Eastern North Carolina, and abroad. So thank you once again for joining us here at WBIS LP 106.9. Thank you, social media, for viewing the show now live and, of course, at a later time. Ladies and gentlemen, let me let you know how you can hear the show and participate throughout the year. Now you can go to www.bisawesomeradio.org, and there's a media player that floats throughout the pages, and you can click play there. You can contact or listen to us there 24 hours a day. Now, to participate in the show, you can call in as long as we're live. And if you call on a rebroadcast, then obviously we won't pick up. But you can call in. As you can see, if you're listening on the radio, if you're watching through social media, you can contact us 252-756-2008. And we're also on Roku TV. So you have to look us up there. And the most powerful way, last but definitely not least, is to download the app on Google Play or the App Store if you have an Apple product. And therefore, you can punch the button and catch powerful talk shows and ministries 24 hours a day right on your device. So once again, welcome. Instead of people waiting a little bit more through my preliminaries, I'd like to just go around the room. If you're new to the show, I'm Vernon Garrison. I am a co-host with Dr. Johnson here. We've had this show about 2 years now. I believe it's a toddler, and we love it. And I am a certified life coach and former detention officer with the Pitt County Sheriff's Office, also a veteran, 12 years, a private investigator and crisis manager independently, and so forth and so on. So I've done enough just to talk about first responders and talk to them. But other than that, we have Muhammad Inab here. He's an intern, a Pitt Community College graduate, and he is here with me on my side and flanking the show, talking to us about social media and the risk that we take on social media and using our devices, and that's cybersecurity. So welcome to the show this year, Mr. Muhammad. If you'd like to say a couple words, help yourself, and then we'll go to our distinguished guest. We're going to save Dr. Johnson for last.
Hey, but I got one correction already.
Uh-oh.
To start the new year off right.
See?
You said you want to wish everybody a happy New Year's.
Oh, years.
It's not plural. It's singular.
Grammar
We only came into 1 year, not multiple years.
He just asked
So
for it.
it's not plural. It's singular.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Muhammad, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing good, and Happy New Year's, everyone.
All right. Well, we have a Dr. Johnson. I won't put you last. I'm gonna go ahead and put you first since you already started inhaling the air in the room. How have you been so far this year? How's your day? How's your day going? How's your year going?
My year is on absolutely fabulous. I've been having an awesome time. Most recently, I attended the graduation ceremony as a guest speaker and presenter for corrections officers completing their CIT training at Pitt Community College. So that was a very enjoyable experience, and they really appreciated having me there. So I really thank them for having me also.
Segue into our correspondent for the last couple of years. He's been there. I can't say enough about Sergeant Lee Darnell, Pitt County Sheriff's Office. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Coach. Dr. Johnson, Muhammad, Captain Stanton here in a few minutes. It is so good to be here. So happy to be here. Happy New Year.
Thank you, sir.
And distinguished guest, and perhaps she'll be with us for a while because I got a lot of questions for her. I tell you, I really do. Captain, introduce yourself to the audience, and this show will be seen also on GPAT TV, GPAT 23. So you'll be on for a while. Tell us a little about yourself and just say a quick hello.
First of all, hello, Happy New Year to everybody. Captain Stanton with the Greenville Police Department. I'm the South Zone Commander for our Field Operations Bureau. I've been with Greenville PD for 24 years now.
Wow.
And so I'm happy to be a part of this and look forward to some conversations.
Outstanding.
Outstanding. Thank you, Captain. I'm so glad to have you as well. So welcome aboard.
Well, we generally do a lot about current events, but at this moment, it is so important that we get an update from our primary first responders here in Pitt County. So I want to start with Sergeant Lee Darnell, if he wants to share some things that's going on with the sheriff's office and what he might need. I know he perhaps maybe still runs Crime Stoppers, so if you want to do a little bit of that, you can. But give the city and the listeners an update or share, what you might need us to hear.
Well, the biggest thing I need you to hear is that we're still here for you, and we're working around the clock. We're listening to what the people in the county have to say, and we're taking it to heart. We're out there responding to calls and investigating crimes and interacting with the public. We're working hard in the schools to protect our children, to reduce crime in the communities. And we're doing everything we can to keep the county safe and to take good care of the citizens and trying to be a good citizen ourselves. And that's very important to us. We're doing the best we can. Give us feedback and help us to grow along with the community, and stay in touch with us, with Crime Stoppers, with our social media, through our website. See what's going on with us day to day. See what crimes are going on, where we're needing help. We're always putting out photos. We're putting out requests for information saying, hey, do you recognize this person? Do you know anything about this incident? So we're always looking to the community for help. And at the same time, when you're looking to us for help. So we're looking to keep that communication open.
Absolutely. And now, Sarge, I want to ask you, if it's possible, you can share information, if you have it, on the first responder aspect, being not only now police officers, law enforcement, and paramedics, fire rescue, but now the 911 operators, and in regards to the sheriff's office, the communications department.
That's right. We have telecommunicators. Is that what you're referring to? As to whether or not I could share information about that?
As far as they've been now, first responders, according to legislation by the North Carolina legislation.
Oh, absolutely. And as far as legislation, in my book, they've always been first responders. They are kind of the first responder. When you call for help, they're the ones sitting there patiently working with you, trying to get that information to get you help there to you. Absolutely. Great, very patient, very calm professionals who do so much work behind the scenes. The unseen heroes.
Yeah. And I didn't want to give this information out yet. I was waiting to get actually for confirmation. But when you mentioned how the public can help, I want everybody to know that coming up very shortly or soon will be CIT, or not CIT for the community, but it's going to be called Community Crisis Intervention. So the community, I know how to assist in a crisis intervention. As you know, as far as first responders, it's CIT, Crisis Intervention Training, but they're coming up with a Community Crisis Intervention. So it'll be kind of similar, but it won't be the same as law enforcement or first responders, because it's not, because these are normal citizens. So they're developing a program for community crisis intervention. I just want to share that with everybody, not to get ahead of everything. And I didn't want to make that public yet until they actually came out with it. I'll have to direct it back on the show to talk about that further. But for the moment, just expect that to come up in the future.
All right.
Near future.
Sergeant Darnell, I gotta come at him in a moment, and perhaps our new guest today will figure how we ask questions because she'll be getting her mindset ready. Now, Crime Stoppers normally pays a reward, I believe, if I'm using the correct terminology. Is there? I saw last year. I saw an update on the McRuff program, the crime prevention for children, and they did a study to see if that was actually effective. You know, when it comes to say no to drugs and things of that nature. I saw a study that, proclaimed that the program was efficient, effective. In some areas, it was not. On Crime Stoppers, when you offer cash rewards, how's that been, and what type of information is available to the public about how much you're paying out, or are the leads yielding the results that you're looking for? How effective is that program if you still manage it, and what information do you have to share with the audience today?
Sure. I can say that it's very effective. I wish it were more effective. Every tip that pays out is that much safer for the community. So it can only get more effective. We do pay out many thousands of dollars every year, but keep in mind that no tax dollars go toward Crime Stoppers, that it is all volunteer oriented. There are no paid staff members. So my time goes toward it, but I'm a sheriff's office employee, and Crime Stoppers is not a sheriff's office program. It is a nonprofit program with a volunteer board. And it's a 501c3 nonprofit. And it's fully volunteer board, volunteer staffed, with only donations to run itself. All the rewards are donations. All of the website paid for with donations. All of the everything donations. Without a donation, it doesn't get done. So it takes a lot of hard work and dedication, and yet it's very effective. We receive hundreds of tips a month. I will, on any given day, I will just get dozens of tips. Are they all successful? No. I will get murder tips, drug tips, tips in schools that recover weapons. Does that save a life? I don't know. The thought that it could gives me peace of mind at night.
Wow, what a great summary. We're going to have to go into that program next month, perhaps, and bring some data. I would have a zillion one questions about that, no doubt. But thank you. You opened my eyes to a few things. So there you go. The general public probably needs to know that we're tattletales in the right situation. The snitches or whatever those derogatory names for that. No, we're saving lives, and you're going to learn more about that on this show this year, ladies and gentlemen.
Just be mindful.
And another quick note, if I may, drug dealers can turn in their rivals. Drug dealer, turn in your rival drug dealers. That's okay. I will pay you to take down your rival drug dealers.
Come on.
Hey, think about it. You don't like somebody and they killed somebody. Hey, take them down too.
That's right. Those drugs,
let's put the bad people in jail where they belong. Make the streets safer one way or another. Illegal firearms on the streets, let's get them off the streets. I don't care who you are. If you know it, put in a tip. You're anonymous. I don't know who you are. Let's get the firearms off the streets. Let's get the wanted people off the streets. I don't know who's giving me the tip. Give me good information, put the bad people in jail, you make the money.
Yeah, because all those guys or girls involved in the criminal element have to realize and share one thing with each other. If they catch me, they caught us.
All right. Well, thank you, sir. general distribution of full-time U.S. law enforcement employees, 21 in the year of 2021, there is noted 60.3% of full-time civilian law enforcement employees in the United States were female, and only 13.3% of the full-time law enforcement officers were female, while 86.7% of law enforcement officers were male. All right. I didn't want to go there because this interview that's going to spread out between now and over the break when we come back is going to be with Captain Staten. How do you pronounce your last name?
It's Stanton.
Stanton's. Captain Stanton. And great to have you on the show. I got to ask one question and I can get a short answer. Are you considered a minority at Greenville Police Department? Or are you considered an officer?
Well, I am an officer. I'm a sworn law enforcement officer. Greenville's numbers are actually pretty high considering the national average with female police officers. We're doing pretty well, but we haven't tapped that 50% mark, so it's equal. There are less women in law enforcement, and our agency is no different.
Okay, you mentioned the number 50%. With the time we have, we're going to play with it a minute. 50%, is that a number that you just pulled out of the air that you'll be satisfied with? Or is there some data behind trying to be separate but equal or something?
No, there's all I can tell you is Greenville's authorized for about 205 sworn law enforcement officers, and I think I'd have to look at our roster, but we're probably around 20 female officers here, so it's much less than the 50%, but that number is definitely growing.
All right, you mentioned earlier in your introduction that you have how many years of service with Greenville Police Department? Tell us the story.
24.
How did you get here? Where are you from?
I am actually from a small town called Havelock, North Carolina. More people are familiar with it because you drive through it on the way to the beach. And I grew up in a military family. So my father was in the Marine Corps stationed at Cherry Point for several years. I came to Greenville in 1995, attended East Carolina University where I graduated from there. And I started with the Greenville Police Department in a actual civilian role while I was still an intern at ECU, and I have been here ever since.
All right. I'm gonna stay with I gotta stay shallow a bit. You feel like people have to drive through Havelock. That's like, yeah, we're awesome. They have to drive through Havelock to get to the beach. You can go through Jacksonville. I just love the fact that you're proud of it. And did you say you was in the military?
I was a military, what you call military brat. I grew up in the military with my father being in the Marine Corps.
Outstanding.
And already the captain has answered one of my questions, but I'm going to ask the question specifically after we come back from the first break because we have 1 minute to go before we complete our first 20 minutes of this broadcast.
And when we come back, we're going to start off the first minute with Mr. Muhammad Inab on our cybersecurity tip of today. We're going to do two of those segments, and he's going to do his first one when we come back, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the young lady, the military brat, our veteran here that we have to drive through Havelock to get to the beach. Young lady, I'm from Pamlico County, New Bern, DC, in that area too, so I'm just picking on you. Thank you for joining us. I got a few, we're going to get deep into the questions concerning you and what you do, and not just you about you being a female. So I just want to say thank you for joining us. We would love for you to stay with us and become a correspondent of the show as we go through situations. Part of the show is to be able to communicate with law enforcement before we have tough situations. All right, that concludes our first segment. This is WBAS LP 106.9. We'll be right back after the break.
Hi, you're listening to Awesome Radio, WBISLP 106.9 FM, Christian inspirational for the family and ministry teaching for practical Christian living.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Police Report First Responder Show. I'm your co-host, Vernon Garrison, along with Dr. Glenn Edward Earl Leon, probably don't talk enough, Johnson. And we're here today with Muhammad Inab, Captain Tara Staten, and Sergeant Lee Darnell of the Pitt County Sheriff's Office, and of course, Captain Staten is of the Greenville Police Department, Greenville's finest, as we call it. And we are here at WBIS Awesome Radio. So without further delay, we're going to go to our aforeannounced segment called Cybersecurity, Security with the one and only Muhammad Inab. Mr. Muhammad, there are people who could still be waiting on Christmas gifts that they ordered, but they may not receive them because
Scammers do not take breaks, just as hackers don't either. Every time on December, they make their moves, make a strike to people, customers, and pretty much people who are desperate as well.
Okay, so you were saying that during the Christmas holidays, if you haven't gotten your shipment, it might have been because that was either a fake landing page or a fake advertisement about a discounted gift that you were deciding to buy. Oh, wow. So you might have been taken to the hoop. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
What could they do about that? Do you think they can continue to contact the company, write a bad review, check on their card, just make sure there's no other charges being put on their financial instrument? Some people are like scrambling right now. Yeah, I did order them stockings and they didn't get here yet.
I recommend report it and review where did you get it from, if it's actually legit or not. You see, there's a lot of scammers made a lot of false advertisements to deceive people and make it sound convincing that they are who they say they are. But a lot of people do not know that they can always try social engineering, which that's called manipulating, presenting someone that they're not, or making it sound convincing.
I got a phone call once and they said that they were from PayPal and they were about to go into my account and withdraw some cash. But the interesting part was they were telling me to pay some cash or they were going to bill me or withdraw some cash. So I thought it was weird. So
that's the definition of a scammer. And that way, someone's trying to hack into your account, I guess.
And they proposed that they had already hacked into my account, but they hadn't. So, and in fact, they wanted me to give them my financial information. They just thought I was just that unsmart.
That's how they are. They'll try to get you every time. Every time when I get messages from Microsoft accounts, they send me a code to access it, which I did not request it. So that means they were trying to gain access to my account for other purposes. That's how they'll get you.
Wow.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Mm-hmm. And Muhammad, as you may recall, I asked you a question about internet security. We talked about Microsoft
Defender.
The Defender and Microsoft Security Essentials.
Yes.
Now I have found out something else that's very important for our listening audience to know. If you're visiting a website, usually the website address will start off with HTTP. And the information I heard was if the S is not included, like HTTPS, then it's probably not safe. We have a caller calling in. Hey, caller, you are live on the Police Report First Responder Show. You have a question or comment?
Yes, I have a question for the Greenville PD and the Sheriff Department.
Okay, sir.
I would like to know what is the upcoming plans for Ms. Dance on the Sheriff Department for crime stopping this year.
I believe the appropriate person for that to respond to will be Sergeant Darnell.
Did you hear the question? I think he did. Oh, we can't hear him. He must be muted.
I think you're muted, Sarge.
There we
Thank
go.
you. So your question was, what's the sheriff's plan for stopping crime this year?
Correct. Do we have anything new this year?
Okay.
Caller, could you speak up just a little bit, sir?
Yes, I'm just calling to see what's the future plans for 2023 for the sheriff department as far as crimes. I know there's been a lot of activity in the Pitt County.
There has. I can tell you what I do know for sure. At the end of 2022, the sheriff was able to get a few cameras in place that she had been trying for years to get. The money was finally made available to her to put up a few cameras like the city of Greenville has. And we've been able to work with Greenville in some of our cases in the past to use some of those for investigative purposes. And we've been able to put up, I think we went with 4 or 5 in the county at the end of 2022. And as money is made available to us, we hope to place several more out in the county to make investigations much more simple. That doesn't necessarily stop crime from happening, although it could. If you know that there are more cameras, hopefully that will deter people from making bad decisions, but it could help speed up investigations. It could hopefully recover more property. And that's one thing that we're working toward. The sheriff's plans do include working to reduce recidivism more, which seems to be working through programs at the detention center, working to get more officers, deputies, detectives on the streets to have more visibility in the communities, quicker response times, to more effectiveness for investigations. Let's see what else I'm aware of. Continue. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
And my next question, it will be to Greenville Police Department. In the student housing realm, I noticed on TV that there have been several shootings on the student housing side. Last year, there were about 6, and 2 of them being homicide on where the student housing. What are y'all doing to improve the safety of the East Carolina students?
Absolutely. A lot of those housing complexes are actually they're private. They're not. It's large student populations, but they're not owned and operated by the university. However, there is a huge impact that's made when there's violent crimes such as shootings and homicides and stuff like that, and they're taken very seriously. That's kind of a multifaceted approach. Usually the zone commanders go out there and meet with property management. They draw in their ECU counterparts to help push out messaging, do CEPTED or crime prevention tips and changes within the complex. If that means improving lighting, recommending that they have private security out there, installing personal cameras on parking lots and stuff like that. Those are all things that are taken into account and are worked on with the police department and those property owners and managers to make sure that we don't have repeat crimes in those areas of those natures.
Okay, and I have one more question for you, ma'am. I was told by WBAL that they will be discontinuing traffic cameras for taking pictures of vehicles because it's a third party. It's not directly to y'all. Is that still going to be in effect this year?
If you're referring to the red light camera program, yes, we have stopped
Hold that thought, Captain. We got to
Okay.
go to break, and
Okay.
we'll let you answer that when we come back.
Absolutely.
WBISLP 106.9. It's awesome radio.
Caller, stay on the line, please.
I wasn't prepared to be a caregiver to mom. Council. Hi, this is LaManda. You're listening to Awesome Radio 106.9.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. WBISLP 106.9. Police Report First Responders Show. And right now we're right in the middle of questioning between a consumer that called in with Captain at this point. You can proceed to answer the question, what is going on with student housing? Now, I work downtown in a student area and there's private housing, but I just heard this weekend there was some violence on ECU campus. Captain?
Yes, sir. You want us to address that one as well, or go back to the red light?
Well, yeah, I think that, that was, you don't have to go back to that one right now, but continue with the red light.
Yes,
okay.
ma'am. Yes, call on the line.
So Greenville did discontinue the red light ticket program. They ended that, I believe it was in the beginning stages of January. Don't quote me on that one. I know there's still, there was a date put out where we actually stopped doing the citations, and the program is currently wrapping up. That does not mean, though, that, all of the cameras that Greenville has, stop. We still have cameras out there. There's still stuff that's caught on camera, and those are utilized to help solve a lot of our cases.
Right.
So cameras are very, very beneficial in that aspect. But as far as, that your next question, Mr. Garrison, going back to, crime, there are things that happen in and around the university, and those are things that we work on in conjunction with our university affiliates as well as the sheriff's department to kind of address all of those cases that come up.
Caller, are you still there, caller?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any further questions?
Yes, it will be for both departments in conjunction about safety in the Greenville PD area in Pitt County. The school system, and not particularly here, but around the nation, we're hearing children bringing guns to schools. Is that a need for gun detection for kids going into these schools? I mean, we just had an 8th grader shoot a teacher, and this can go on, be like a copycat or whatever in our community. And are y'all prepared? Are y'all working together as Greenville PD and the Sheriff Department for these type of crimes? And what are you prepared to do or prevent? Because keeping our kids safe and not having guns allowed in schools.
Okay.
I'll step up and talk for just a moment on that. We all have to work together anytime that the community safety is involved, especially if it comes to the kids. We all of our SROs know each other and work together and work with the school system very closely. The school system has a security team, security managers who work with each agency so that everyone's on the same page. So, and then each of our agencies have contingency plans and specialty training and what have you to bring us as close to readiness as possible. And then I just hope and pray that we never get to that point. We try to be proactive in that our SROs, and I can say this having been an SRO in Pitt County schools, we get to know the students, know what's normal, what isn't, And we form those relationships so that the kids feel open coming out with information. Now, in my role as Crime Stoppers coordinator, we get a lot of tips from campus Crime Stoppers, and we pay a lot of rewards to school system students for bringing information to their SROs or to their teachers or principals. And we recover a lot of weapons that way, and drugs and thefts and things like that as well. That helps provide some of that security blanket in that the kids understand they can remain anonymous and let people know about security threats to keep themselves safe while making money. But it's about keeping them safe. And the officers have the specialized training, and we provide things like shields for the schools. So if, heaven forbid, the day comes that a real threat is there, the officers have a shield and the weapons that are necessary and the training to confront the threat and to, oh gosh, the cold chills, and to do what's necessary to protect our children.
Absolutely. And caller, if you can stick and stay for just a moment, I'm going to ask a question to Captain Stanton that would involve Sergeant Darnell as well. But more importantly, I think this question should be asked of ECU Police Department. And that is, when Vidant got a new designation as company police or campus police rather than company police. And now, since ECU is under control of the Vidant Medical Center, which is now ECU Health, and I think they fall under the jurisdiction of ECU Police now, if I'm correct. And I will have them on the show as well in the future, but I'm going to ask the captain if that's the case, and ECU or Vidant or ECU Health is under ECU Police Department, and that mutual aid agreement is still together with Greenville PD. Will that give them a jurisdiction to help out in any way possible in the city of Greenville?
Absolutely. East Carolina University Police, they're still full-fledged sworn police officers. And the hospital, the company police there, they have police authority on that campus as well. Greenville Police Department does have a mutual aid agreement with East Carolina University, and we often work with them, especially in the downtown and Troon areas on a regular basis. Same with, when East Carolina University requests mutual aid assistance for, football games, Halloween events, any kind of major school function that there's those partnerships with. So there's definitely collaboration on a constant basis, not only with Greenville Police Department, Pitt County Sheriff's Department as well. There's mutual collaboration events. There's mutual aid agreements between all the agencies for a variety of things that are necessary to help everybody work together.
Captain, and in light of what the caller is asking about, I want to dig in on this, especially when you talk about mutual aid and the agreements. We're hearing a lot of information that come out of the mass shooting of Uvalde in Texas, and we're seeing a lot of things that we know as facts as citizens about there was not clearly the person that was clearly in charge, the decisions that were made and not made. I want to know, let's bring it into like issue type language. Is there coordinated trainings going on right now to either update the mass shooting procedures that law enforcement officers have based on this learning experience that the world just got? Is there coordinated trainings going on now to make sure we know how we're going to respond to what we know of as mass shootings now? If something bizarre happens, I can hear somebody saying, well, we wasn't prepared for that, or we didn't have any information. But at this point, what we know about mass shootings, especially protecting our children, are you guys training behind the scenes to make sure either the general public knows or you guys know how you're going to respond? Because you did a great job with the citizens mass shooting training. Even I knew that a citizen that runs to a mass shooter to stop a threat is a very good thing. But I guess those officers up there didn't know that you go to the threat and you stop it. But are you guys updating so that you can come out and say we responded well and we'll get everything is under investigation and we'll let you know as we can release it? Or are you preparing to say, well, we're not sure what happened. We'll get the facts to you when we can. But I want to see an officer in the departments around here that are prepared as best as possible. What are you guys doing?
I think, and I know Greenville Police Department and the Sheriff's Department as well. I know we are constantly training. You're constantly updating protocols. You're constantly updating what are the best practices. And unfortunately, a lot of those best practices come on the tail ends of tragedies and what went wrong, what could be done better to improve, not a reactionary type of training, but hey, let's be proactive and figure out what can we do to prevent this from happening. I think that's a lot of where our trainings, especially with active shooters, are involving personnel from school systems, involving business owners, that type of thing, to kind of let them know, hey, this is, if there's a situation, this is how the police are going to respond. This is what we need you guys to be aware of. So that way we can keep everybody as safe as possible and have the best outcome. And so, yes, those protocols are constantly being updated and addressed. Training is nonstop. That's, the one thing you will learn in law enforcement is the day you know everything, that's the day you need to get out, because things is constantly changing and evolving, and we have to evolve with it as well.
Caller, you still in the air? Do you have another question? Okay, I believe the call is gone. Thank you for calling in if you're still listening. Sergeant Lee Darnell, did you want to respond to that? You know how I get. I do not want to hear, well, we can't release this footage until we don't quite know what happened, or the officer. I mean, no. Help us out. Are you guys getting prepared behind the scenes? Does the citizens need more training on hate crimes, or how to determine what a terrorist action is? I mean, how can we be proactive in both training citizens and officers on an ever-evolving evil that's out there?
Well, I think you summed it up when you said ever-evolving. And at this point, we all have to continuously evolve. That means we have to continuously take in intelligence and continuously self-evaluate and grow. And we do that. And the day we fail to do that, we are failing ourselves and everyone, and it's time to leave. So we have to, and we are. So you can rest assured that we are. And I couldn't look you in the eye and tell you that if we weren't. Matter of fact, I couldn't do this job if we weren't, and go home and risk that with my family. So I know this day and age, you have to. The criminals are doing everything they can to take it to the next level. So we have to as well. We have to keep an eye on things. We have to think outside the box. We have to train outside the box, and we have to be prepared and work together, and we are. So
I like I usually share an interaction with law enforcement every show. So before we go to the cybersecurity here shortly, I want to share an interaction that I had that wasn't so pleasant in the beginning, but I think it ended well. I was sitting at a local store at probably about 3 a.m, and a group of officers swooped into the parking lot, and one officer knocked on my window, and I was sitting there looking at my tablet, looking at some videos. And I rolled the window down and I said, "Yes, sir. What are you looking at? What are you looking at? What's going on?" So I'm looking at him like, okay, I'm doing fine. I'm looking at videos. So it's almost as if he was asking specifically what I was looking at. To conclude what I'm saying, I don't want to be dramatic here. They were shaking the bushes looking for a suspect that had just ran away from an officer. And to me, it borderline running into a situation where you're going to offend other people. All you had to do was just look at me and see if I've met the description, or go in the store to look at the camera to see if that person came there. But he kind of shook me a little bit too hard, and I'm like, what does what I'm watching on my iPad have to do with? Am I looking like the person that just? He could have simply said, "Yeah, we just had somebody down the street that just ran away from an officer, and we're just kind of checking around." And at the same time, simultaneously looked at me and kind of scanned me to see if I fit the description or I was acting like. But anyway, the shakedown wanted to make me say something a little offensive. And I do not approve of baiting people up to get them to mouth off just so you can go from one thing to the next. But I do appreciate what you guys, that was my little rant. Y'all could tell me that when I see an officer in blue to calm down, it's okay. I'm taking deep breaths right now. Blood pressure went up. But every time I call Greenville PD, those guys show up and they get work and they represent. And every time I work with a Greenville police officer, they show up, and even ECU. So I haven't had that much interaction with the sheriff's office other than Sergeant Darnell, and he's always a class action dude. So final words between Captain and Sergeant, and then we'll go to cybersecurity. What would you say, Captain, that you want us to know as far as how your officers are performing, and what Greenville PD message that they want to get to us about safety and protecting us? Give you about a minute.
I would say, the biggest thing is if people see something that kind of looks out of place, call us and let us know, because you might be observing something that's going on or getting ready to happen, and those couple extra seconds notice that we have makes the world of difference. And then, when you do have interactions with officers, understand that they're humans too. And so a lot of times people will ask questions, try to solicit information to find out what's going on, to establish those communication highways, so that way we can learn things from each other. I get out with people all the time and just, talk with them. Hey, what's going on? And I've had several that have gone very well about, wow, you're the first officer that's ever gotten out and talked with me. And then I've had other ones go, well, why'd you get out with me? Well, I got out with you because, we just had this incident happen right up the road. And all it has to do is explaining and talking, and then reporting things people see, because that way, that's the only way we're going to have community engagement, and we can all work together to problem solve.
Absolutely.
Sergeant Lee Darnell.
I just sitting here processing a little bit off topic, thinking about your interaction. I've got to stir the pot just a little bit if I can. There,
stir it.
All right. You gave your interaction. Let me tell you where my mind's going. If I'm
we got 2 minutes in the whole show, so you got 2 minutes.
2 minutes. I'll be quick.
Yes, sir.
I'm a little socially awkward. Okay, I'm an introvert. I can't help it. I am. And sometimes when I approach people, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to talk, and I just kind of do the best I can do. And sometimes I'll come up and I'll just reach out trying to find a way to start to interact. And I'll say something like, "Hey, I like your bumper sticker," or "Hey, I know that song. Who is that?" Or I'm reaching out for a way to interact. And I could see an officer coming up going, "What you watching?" and not mean anything by it. But I know the way you're thinking too, and I would be offended like you are. So now going, why are you doing this? Get to the point. That's not, no, I'm with you. I know why you're thinking that way. As an officer, I should think better than to approach somebody that way. But I can see how an officer could also not mean to approach that way. I'm sorry, just got on a rant. 2 minutes are up, but I'm trying to reason through the interaction there, trying to think how I can use that down the road.
If it was just general conversation, I would have been, I'm watching old reruns of Fred Sanford or something. But he asked me what I was watching, in almost his authority voice. So I think he was trying to switch over to make it casual. and it just came out kind of
I
like,
wish I could have been a fly on the wall, my
I
friend.
know, right? Because look,
I'm
you
gonna
had
hush and
48
let the
seconds.
show get over.
Because we did some drama work with you guys that were about to arrest me too. So I remember that. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to invite these same two guests back next month. Thank you for your time. We love you guys. We're going to have an extra special cybersecurity moment. We had a great show today, guys. You guys made it possible. Captain, would you agree to come back, please?
Thank you, Captain.
Oh, we got a thumbs up. Love you
yeah.
guys. Let's go to work, man, my friend. It's 20 seconds. Dr. Johnson, thank you for your research and your work and getting everybody done. And we'll get everybody approved ahead of time next time. And so thank you, guys.
I'm looking forward to having Captain Stanton on again. Thank you very much, Captain.
WBISLP 106.9 Police Report First Responders. We'll be back third Tuesday of next month.